I mean, Striper probably being the top, but then a guy was like, "Hey man, you got to check out this band Bloodgood," and I got the album Detonation, and man, I
Mhm.
wore that
I
thing
remember that
out.
well. Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, I
yeah.
wore that out. And so, man, it was just so crazy. About three, 3.5 years ago, Les Carlson called me because I was friends with Oz Fox, and Les said, "Hey, are you available to do a show?" And I was like, "What? Are you kidding me?" I was like, "What day?" So, but then it was like, with Bloodgood, that's not a walk in the park with that music. I mean, so like with me, I'll start charting all the songs out because I want to make sure I know this stuff inside and out. And so that was a little challenging. There's a lot of stuff going on in that, but man, it was a blast.
Wow.
Yeah. And
Well,
we
talk
actually
to.
were supposed to.
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, it was funny because we put like this. Um, it didn't really work out. Or maybe say maybe it didn't work out yet, but we had this idea. I got a call. There's a band called Chaotic Resemblance,
Yeah, yeah.
and they're
We know
they're.
them. Yes.
Do you know? Yeah, gosh, great band. And their dad called me up one day and he said, "Man, I had this dream of this band, and it was Oz, Les, you, and his son and the guitar player." He's like, "I think we should like look into this." And I was like, "Yeah, man." And so kept talking about it, and we actually had we got together in Las Vegas, and all of us were like rehearsing, and it was going to be a thing where we'd play Striper songs, Whitecross songs, Bloodgood songs. And I was like, man, and we did a photo shoot, but then, Oz was having his difficulties, with the tumors he had
Right.
gotten.
Right, right.
Thank God, it seems like he's doing okay. So that it kind of just all, you know, had to be put on the back burner.
Oh
But
man,
that,
that
but
would
that
be
was exciting though, man. I was pinching myself, going,
that
what?
would that would be some super group, huh, Steve?
It would indeed. We've just recently interviewed Travis McConnell and L.A. Ellis from Chaotic, and their interview is going to be coming out really soon. So yeah.
Yeah, those guys are amazing.
So
I
talk
mean,
to us about your new stuff. And I got to be honest, there was this track, Signs of the End, Whitecross 2.0, that absolutely blew me away. That was just a few months ago, back in February, that I think that premiered. And then you've got a solo album coming out. So talk to us a little bit about kind of what's going on new music wise in your life.
with Whitecross or with the project I'm doing.
But both, I tell you what, tell us a little bit about the White Cross, but then I really want to hear about this solo project. So kind of lead into that, if you would.
Okay. With that, Signs of the End, there, when we went, Whitecross had played India, and Scott couldn't make that gig. We had already, the promoter in India, he had, asked us if we were going to do it, and everybody had agreed, and contract was signed. He had sent a deposit, and then Scott called me and said, "Hey, I can't do the gig." And I was like, "What?" I was like, "You got to be kidding me." And he had some issues like with a new job he was getting, so we were scrambling. We said, "Well, we're going to have to play it. We've already got a deposit down, blah blah blah." And so we had got a friend of Rex's named Peter Stenlin from Sweden, and he did the gig, and it was fun. He's a great guitar player, great voice, but he didn't seem like he fit Whitecross all that well. And so when we had an opportunity to play this festival Capstone, and wasn't sure if Scott was ready for that, I had a friend in Dallas. His name is David Roberts, and he sounds so much like David Coverdale.
Yes, he
Yeah.
for
does.
me.
Yes, he does.
Yeah, and with me and just being a Coverdale fan, and this was like maybe 3 years ago, I was like, Rex, you've got to hear this guy, and I found out that he is a believer, and that we actually had asked him to go to India. And but it was weird. He just kind of was like, man, let me think about it. And I'm thinking, what do you mean you have to? I didn't say that, but I'm thinking, what are you talking about? I was like, this is what a crazy chance. But come to find out later on, he was saying that he had he has fear of like flying and all that. So it was bizarre. And so when we were doing this capstone thing, I said, hey Dave, would you think about doing that? Yeah, yeah, man. And I was like, what? And so because I wasn't sure, but he has a fear of flying. So we said, well, hey, Rex sent him that a track of Signs at the end. It was one of the higher songs that Scott sang, and so man, he just knocked it out of the park. And
So
you know
is he going to be in Whitecross as regular vocalist now? What do you
that I
guys
mean,
think?
I might get in trouble. I mean, it's really up in the air. I mean, Scotty and you guys have talked to Rex. I mean, they haven't. I love Scott. He's a dear friend of mine, but I know that Scott and Rex have not had the closest relationship
Mm.
in Whitecross. Just very, very different personalities and can clash at times. I mean, Dave was not asked to come on, as a permanent singer. We were definitely doing that capstone show and then audio feed. We're going to also do that one. But I think both of those have been canceled now because of the coronavirus.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, I mean, but Rex is chomping at the bit. He's got about probably like about at least 3 new songs that would be new Whitecross material, and we just haven't done new Whitecross material in so long, just because there was just kind of issues with Scott and Rex agreeing on things, and so I mean Rex is ready to. He wants to get some new material, and so I mean me too. I'm like, man, it's just yes.
Yeah.
And I mean
Well,
Dave would fit that. He would fit
his
that really
voice fits
well.
you guys. Yeah, it fits you guys. Well, talk to us about your new stuff. You had mentioned to me when we were setting this interview up. You said maybe not quite such hard rock and metal, and you even dropped the name Joe Cocker in terms of style. So talk to us a little bit about that. What's going on?
Yeah, I'm super excited about it. I mean, this is just an opportunity that God put in my path. I mean, it is just crazy. I mean, um, like at my church, I sing a lot and play, and there was so when all this was happening out here, with the COVID, that's when I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. And I've always like my voice doesn't have the range of like Scott or Dave Roberts, but I've always enjoyed like Rod Stewart and Joe Cocker. I'll listen to a lot of that stuff. And so I met with Butch because he's a producer out here, and lives an hour from my mom, and we got together. We wrote 6 songs together, and I also had Barry Grawl from Mercy Me come in, and we also wrote 2 songs with Barry. And man, I'm so excited about them. Just great, great songs. But I'm sure a lot of people, or at least the fans of Whitecross, once they see I've got a solo album, I'm sure there's going to be a high percentage that'll be like, what in the world? Because maybe there'll be. I mean, it's pop rock, but it's more, I would say, like AC with an edge, adult contemporary with an edge. So,
Well,
but I'm
there's a piece of video floating around out there, which I know you know. This goes back to 2012, and if any of our listeners want to check this out, you need to get on YouTube and find the King James version of "Knocking on Heaven's Door," and you're handling the vocals on that. And I got to tell you, that it's fantastic.
God, thank you so much.
Love your vocals on that, and so there's a little foretaste for anybody who wants to see what Michael's voice is all about, and I can't wait. When are you thinking this might come out?
I finished the drum tracks last week, and I go tomorrow to start on the vocals. So that should be finished by the end of next week. And then we'll be getting Barry Grawl from Mercy Me to play on some tracks. So I'm hoping like within a month it should be finished.
Wow.
Wow,
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah, I'm excited about that.
Yeah, we're looking forward to that. I'm really excited for you with what's happening now because that's one of the things that fans are always interested in. Something like going back to the VH1 thing of where are they now? And fans want to know what you're involved in right now, and I appreciate the uniqueness of what you're doing here, and you're not doing the same thing. So you mentioned about Whitecross possibly with a few new songs. Is there anything, any news on King James right now?
Not really. I mean, gosh, there was like, you know, when we did Maximus, it seemed like, the sky was the limit with stuff that was going to happen, and with that record company, Madison Line Records, but it kind of just fell apart. And I love Jimmy. He loves Jesus so much, and he's just a great guy, great singer. But you know, King James, unfortunately, like when they kind of broke loose, when Rexha left Whitecross, and I remember when they came out, and I was like, oh my goodness, they have Robert Sweet and Tim Gaines. Are you kidding me?
Yeah,
But
yeah,
that's when, unfortunately for King James, they didn't have a chance to build a fan base because that year was when grunge kind of just took over.
yeah, yeah. I
And so,
remember that. Yeah,
yeah, so I mean, King James is at a tough time because, I mean, Whitecross has got a big fan base that has just been around for so long, and it's still hard for Whitecross. So, I mean, but he's got stuff going on. He's got some guys from Brazil that are just phenomenal musicians, and it's kind of like power metal, and
Cool.
he's working on some stuff. I think it's called 316 or something like that.
wow, wow. So, we mentioned earlier about, chaotic resemblance, and Steve and I are really pumped when we have them on the show because um, from our era, we're just excited that somebody is coming out with someone, from that age group is coming out with music that we love. And not doing the modern day metal. Nothing against the modern day metal, but it doesn't have the melodic feel that we appreciated from the 80s.
Right.
So what I would, one question would be, from your experience with all of everything that you've put out, all the bands that you've been a part of, if let's use Chaotic Resemblance for an example. If you were to give them one piece of advice from somebody who's been a musician for a while to somebody who's just starting out, what would be the one piece of advice you would give
To them, I would say keep doing what you're doing. I mean,
them?
we had such a funny experience with them. We were playing. Oh gosh, we played some festival together, and I remember Jimmy, coming to me and Rex and Benny and going, hey man, we've got this band coming in. They're young guys, and we've got to be like, examples for these guys, man. They're young. They're probably, not